Hello and welcome to Japan Lyric Room.
Welcome.
In this show, we like to take our time with the lyrics of Japanese songs, really savoring them.
Right.
We try to break down the meaning behind the phrases and, the unique cultural background to make it all clear and accessible.
It's all about finding that depth that you might miss just by reading the words. There are so many layers of nuance, rhythm, and history in the Japanese language that can just completely deepen your appreciation for a song.
And for this session, we've picked a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
It's from a band that's really at the forefront of the Japanese music scene right now, King Gnu.
Ah, yes. This song it blew up. It became instantly iconic because it's the opening theme for the TV anime Jujutsu Kaisen, specifically for the Shibuya Incident arc.
And if you know anything about that arc, you know it's just pure chaos. So the music has to match that energy.
It really does. And this track, it's instantly recognizable. It's so dark, intricate, and just full of this frantic energy.
Mm-hmm. But what I think really gives it its power and what truly captivated listeners all over the world is the perspective. It's a bit of a shock when you realize the lyrics are written almost entirely from the viewpoint of the cursed spirits.
That is such a brilliant move. It means the song isn't your typical hero's journey. It's about obsession, temptation, and this kind of euphoria in destruction.
And that intensity starts right from the title itself, Special Z.
Right. It's special, but with that Z at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That Z, it feels like more than just a stylistic choice, isn't it? It implies something ultimate, pushed to the very limit.
You're spot on. It takes the word special and just elevates it. It suggests a unique existence or maybe an extreme awakening. It perfectly captures the stakes of the Shibuya Incident, where every single character is pushed to their breaking point.
Becoming this terrifying final version of themselves.
Yes. So we're dealing with a very specific kind of chaos here, one that finds beauty in ruin.
That feels like the core of King Gnu's whole aesthetic, doesn't it?
It really is. The song captures the madness, the euphoria, the destructive beauty, and that thrill of crossing a taboo all at once. They're masters of that light and dark contrast. You have this catchy melody on the surface that's hiding this deep, obsessive chaos right underneath.
Okay, that is a contradiction we have to unpack. We've pulled 7 key lines that I think really showcase this. So let's start with the very first one, which just throws you right into the battle.
Okay. The first phrase is,
"Let us struggle at the very, very edge of yielding. Show me your ill-mannered side."
phew.
That first half is so heavy. Let's break down Ojo-giwa. I know it relates to the brink of death, but how is that word normally used in Japanese?
It's a really evocative phrase. The common idiom is shukiwa ga waru, but basically means someone is a sore loser or they're refusing to give up when they clearly should. It implies they lack grace.
Stubborn.
Very stubborn. But what King Gnu does here is push it way beyond just being stubborn. They double the suffix. Kiwa.
Right, the repetition.
That repetition of kiwa, which means edge or verge, it just intensely emphasizes that this isn't just a tough spot. This is the absolute final limit, a desperate fight in the last possible second.
So it's the difference between being a bad sport and literally fighting with your toes hanging over a cliff.
Precisely. And that desperation perfectly sets up the second line. Show me your ill-mannered side.
And coming from a cursed spirit, that feels less like a request and more like a demand.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just asking for someone to be a little rude. It feels like it's saying, drop the act, get rid of all restraint, and show me your true monstrous nature.
Yes. Break every taboo. It's the perfect symbol for the insane, off-the-rails nature of the battles in the Shibuya arc. It's a challenge to just, go completely feral and become one of the SPECIALZ.
That descent into pure impulse brings us to the second phrase, where things get, well, a little weird.
Yeah, the tone shifts. It's, I love you, 6A6. This is a gamash.
You love you, baby. Let us continue to chant or sing. That I love you, 6A6Y is so jarring. It feels like playful internet slang dropped into this incredibly dark song.
And that's that linguistic play, that gokana sobi that King Gnu is so good at. They break up the word baby with numbers. It feels modern digital, but it's delivered with the psychotic obsession of a cursed spirit.
It's that mix of cute and menacing. It keeps you completely off balance.
It does. But then the intensity comes right back in the second half of that line, especially with their choice for the word sing.
I mean, the kanji.
Yes, the kanji they chose for Yutao is D. This character is much more formal, more elevated than the common one for just, singing a song. It carries this meaning of to praise continuously or even to sing like a prayer.
So from the cursed spirit's perspective, they're not just singing a little tune.
Yeah.
They're performing a ritual. a rite dedicated to their target. It basically consecrates their obsession.
Exactly. They're celebrating the chaos they're creating. And that idea of sacred obsession leads us right into the third phrase.
Right, which uses this very classical Japanese structure.
Every single action that makes my heart burn.
The key part here is that 4-character compound, right? Ikkyoshu-ittosoku.
It is. It literally means one raising of the hand, one moving of the foot. Basically, every tiny movement, every little thing you do.
It sounds almost theatrical, a bit archaic. Why use something so formal to describe this feeling?
I think that's the point, the tension. By using this grand traditional phrasing, they make the emotion feel monumental. It's a poetic way of describing a frantic obsession, a kind of worship. It's not just I like watching you, it's every single tiny thing you do is sacred and sets my soul on fire.
So the ancient language is there to express the absolute maximum degree of psychotic attachment.
You've got it. It gives this incredible weight to what could be a simple declaration.
Speaking of weight, the 4th phrase pulls us right back to that breaking point, but it uses a totally different cultural metaphor this time, which is, let us hold firm at the very edge of the sumo ring.
A powerful image. It's a term straight from sumo wrestling, meaning the very edge of the ring. It's that moment where a wrestler is just barely hanging on, about to be pushed out.
It's the ultimate shorthand for holding on by a thread.
For sure. But structurally, what really stands out to me is that we're back to kiwa-kiwa.
Yes. The repetition again, it creates this symmetry with the very first phrase we talked about. So you have the edge of death, and now the edge of the sumo ring.
It's a deliberate choice, I think. It reinforces that this conflict isn't just one moment of struggle. It's a constant dizzying cycle of being pushed to the absolute limit. This is the world the SPECIALZ live in, a state of perpetual defiance, right on the brink.
So we've established the struggle, the worship, the breaking point, and now King Gnu just pulls the rug out from under us with maybe the simplest but deadliest phrase in the whole song.
The 5th phrase, you are my special.
You are my special. It's such a simple English phrase, but that simplicity is probably the song's greatest weapon. You have this clash between the extreme Japanese phrasing and this ultimate simple hook.
Because in this context, being special isn't a compliment. It's not a congratulations.
No, and that's the core duality of the song. When you see it through the lens of Jujutsu Kaisen and King Gnu's darker themes, being special means you've been chosen. Chosen for obsession, for awakening, for selection. Chosen by an inescapable, powerful fate.
Being chosen is a blessing, but it's also the path to becoming this fated partner in destruction. That gap between the casual English and the deep madness of the story is just so artistically compelling.
And that simple phrase is wrapped up in another moment of lyrical chaos.
You Faisu are my special.
Meikyu Kayu rendezvous. A cocktail of Chinese characters, Japanese rhythm, and a French word. It is. You have the hardness of the kanji in Meikyu Kayu, a labyrinthine wandering, and then you pair it with rendezvous, a word that sounds so stylish and faded. The whole blend expresses both chaos, kondon, and ecstasy, tusui, at the same time.
And in Japanese, the word for labyrinth, meikyu, often implies something more than just a maze, right? It feels more dangerous.
Yeah, you're right. In fantasy or gaming context, it often means dungeon, a complex, dangerous place, an arena for adventure. So even though the line has a light rhythmic feel, its meaning is incredibly dark. An eternal rendezvous wandering a dangerous labyrinth. It perfectly symbolizes the chaos of Shibuya.
It really does. And then finally, we get the song's most direct invitation, the rejection of all reason.
No, don't be so calm. This is the song's thesis statement, really. It's the ultimate temptation. Abandon reason and dive headfirst into impulse and madness.
Dive into the madness.
Yes, the whole song embodies that fusion of decadent beauty tambi and a destructive impulse.
Looking back at all of it, the lyrical architecture of SPECIALZ is just astounding. You have these heavy, traditional Japanese idioms with this radically simple, modern English hook, you are my special.
And that contrast is what creates King Gnu's unique world, that place where beauty and madness intersect. The core theme, as we've said, is that being special is both a blessing and a curse. I think it's that universal conflict that makes the song resonate so deeply, even with listeners who don't know all the Japanese nuances.
So let's leave you, our listeners, with one final thought. We've seen how King Gnu clashes traditional Japanese with modern English to tell this story of madness and beauty. Now think about how they might express this same theme. this duality of being special in their other work, or even in Japanese pop culture as a whole. Does this aesthetic of the loneliness and destructive fate of the chosen one reflect something deeper about how we see specialness in our modern world?
That's a great question to ponder.
Thank you so much for listening today.
Thank you.
We're always picking apart various Japanese songs and posting more detailed analysis on our website. So if you want to explore these lyrics even more deeply, please check out the link in the description.
Knowing the culture and language behind the lyrics can make the listening experience so much richer.
If you enjoyed the show, we'd love it if you'd subscribe. And please leave us a comment with your thoughts or any songs you'd like us to cover. We'll see you next time.
See you then.
This has been Japan Lyric Room.